Where do you buy your new comic books from? What is up, guys? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. Today I asked the question, where do you buy your new comic books from? And this is a question that I asked on my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day video that came out last Thursday. And I had a bunch of people leave comments in that comment section below over there. So I am going to read off some of them, talk about it here on this video. And yeah, I'll share a little bit too about kind of where I get my new comics from. And, we'll go from there. In the meantime, smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Appreciate everybody's patience. I know this last week kind of threw me for a loop. I had a bit of an eye infection, still, cleared up for the most part now. Still rocking the glasses, but doing much better. So appreciate everybody who's reached out to me over this time. But yeah, so where do you buy your new comic books from? I think that is a great topic, something that I'm just curious to see where people kind of take on this approach for getting new comics. I know not everybody has a local comic book store near them, an LCS, and so you have to resort to other ways to go about that, whether it's ordering online or buying off of Instagram, or having friends get them for you and ship them to you. All these different avenues, I guess, that you could go through. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of give my answer as I do, and then I'll jump into some of the comments that people had left from last video, and we'll talk about those as well. So for me personally, where do I buy my new comic books from? I buy a majority of my new comics from my LCS, my local comic shop, Zap Comics over in Wayne, New Jersey. They have been my #1 store for the longest time that I've been collecting, and the biggest reason is because of their customer service. They're just great. They're great people, and then on top of that, they have the best selection, the best prices that I've been dealing with, and I just really appreciate them and everything they do. So yeah, for me personally, my #1 go-to is going to my local comic shop, Zap Comics. But there are those circumstances or situations where maybe Zap was sold out, or or maybe I waited on a book too long, and then by the time I decided I wanted to get it, they didn't have it, or they just weren't getting it for whatever XYZ reason, or damaged goods or whatever. So I do have to reach out to other places. So I have a couple of different local comic book shop backup shops, I guess you can call them. And they're not all necessarily local to me. I have some that I have bought from, on the West Coast. I bought some from different areas in New Jersey here. So I think it's good for anybody to, kind of have some of those backups just in case. And then of course, if I absolutely needed something, I have bought off of, certain online stores, websites, things like that. I have done a couple of Instagram purchases. There were a couple vendors that I used to buy from a lot. But since, more recently, I've just been sticking to my local comic shop for the most part. But yeah, so that's basically where I get my new comic books from. And like I said, I'm curious how you get yours. So let's go over some of these answers here. I'm going to put the first one up right here. So we got my man Damien, aka Sleepy Reader Comic 666. And he says, new comics for me come from local comic shops. I have a pull list at the shop that gives me the best discounts, but I still find myself tracking down stray comics at other shops in my neighborhood. I have 3 in walking distance, and others are a short drive away. Man, that's really convenient to have them in walking distance. Convenient and maybe dangerous, right? He also goes on to say, a few times a year, I might have to order a comic that somehow sold out everywhere nearby and or never came through in the first place. I had to do that with Catwoman Lonely City issue #2. So Damien, thank you so much for the comment, man. And it sounds like you and I are very much on the same, mindset here with kind of how we do this. Like you mentioned, your local comic shop. I definitely am right there with you, as I mentioned earlier. I do not have a pull list. I think it's great when people do set up pull lists. I personally don't have one. I don't know. I'm always afraid to commit to certain things, I guess, is my situation with pull lists. The other thing too is, the guys at Zap have even told me, it's for them, they're like, if you really want something that you think is more rare, or, something that you think is going to sell quickly, then, make a pull list for that. But he's like, for some of the titles that we just get a ton of, he's like, you don't necessarily need, to have a pull list. But I do get the idea the pull list is nice for stores because it, obviously sets like kind of a guaranteed or, guaranteed purchase, or that they know that there's going to be this individual buying XYZ books. So it definitely can help your LCS. I know that's for sure. I just know me personally, I've tried the pull listings with some other shops, and at the end of the day, sometimes I change my mind. Sometimes I'm picky about what I'm buying. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I try to only buy 3 books a week physically. So that also plays a role too. All right. Sometimes, it doesn't quite cut the list or make the list that I want to get for top 3. So that's another reason as well. So, but I think, great points here that you make. And like I said before, walking distance, man, that is dangerous. I do have one shop that is local to me, but even that's really not walking distance. I would probably still have to drive there. But yeah, that sounds like a heaven in a way. And like I said, it could be dangerous, spend a lot of money, right? Other than that, yeah, interesting too. And like you said, if you can't get it, sometimes you do have to resort to some of those other situations like online somehow or something like that. I mean, I'm surprised to hear that you had a hard time getting the Catwoman Lonely City. I know that I heard really good things about it, but yeah, curious. Maybe it was a damaged situation or something like that. But either way, Damien, as always, thank you so much for the comment. Moving into the next one here. Let's see. We got my man Pull List Examiner. Pull List says, lots of good DC titles coming out. My new comics come from my main LCS, which also has a discounted pull box program. But my back issue LCS has online FOC pre-orders, so I sometimes I'll pre-order issues that I think may sell out. Lastly, if there's a title I don't think is worth buying at cover price, I may wait and see if I can pick up a run at a discount from places online. As long as shipping prices don't negate the discount. Yeah, so Pull List, man, thank you so much for the comment. I think that makes a lot of sense. And going back to even what Damien had said earlier too, I forgot to mention, and you're saying here is discounts, right? So that's another great deal with, buying from your LCS if you have one. I know for me, for Zap Comics, they do like a kind of like a 10% off type thing. They have like a stamp card essentially, but the stamp card basically equals out to be like a kind of like a 10% thing. So that's another good reason to kind of, stick or be consistent with a certain location if you can. And then, yeah, it's good too. I mean, you have like a kind of the backups, as I had mentioned before. I think backups are always a good thing to have as well. You do the FOC stuff once in a while. I think that's good also. I haven't been doing the FOC stuff. There was a time where I was trying it, but I actually was like getting like kind of lost in what I ordered, what I didn't order. I was also using an FOC website, so that was a little different too. Instead of actually placing orders with my LCS, I guess I didn't even like think to like just use my LCS in doing so. So I guess I could go back to doing that and just kind of guaranteeing certain issues that I want to make sure that I get. But yeah, either way, great comment here. Appreciate the insight here. Pull List. All right, let's go on to the next comment here. It's by my man Geek Out with Roscoe, and he says, I'm pumped that there is a new comic book day on my birthday. That's awesome, man. He says, I'm stoked. He says, I go to my LCS and a secondary LCS, but if I have to, I will purchase them online. Hope your eye gets better, brother. All right, first of all, thanks so much for the well wishes, man. I really appreciate that. Secondly, you mentioned the new comic book day stuff landing on your birthday. I think that's really cool. I was looking ahead and actually found out that there is a new comic book day that lands on my birthday as well. So that's, works out well. And I'll probably try to take off for that day. Sorry, the dog's going crazy here. But yeah, so let's see. So yeah, to say very similar to what I've been talking about, right? Having a main LCS, having the secondary LCS, and then if you have to, you try not to, but if you have to, you go to the online stuff. So I think that works out great, and obviously works for you. So Roscoe, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And when is your birthday? I'm curious. If it was recently, happy birthday, man. But I feel like I would have saw that already. Either way, very cool that it lands on your birthday. Thank you so much for the comment. Let's get into the next one here. My man Todd Christian. Todd, thanks so much for the comment. He says, excellent picks for next week, Justin. I agree with you that the Swamp Thing is a fantastic book and worthy successor of the Alan Moore, Rick Veitch runs. Ram V has been doing an awesome job with every book he touches, and I can't wait for him to take over Detective Comics in July. Yeah, man, I am definitely with you on that. I'm pumped for the Detective Comics news. Looking forward to it for sure. Next thing he says is, as for your questions, I always get to new books from my local LCS. In fact, my store is literally right across the street from my apartment building. Ooh, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. He says it takes me less than 5 minutes to walk to the shop, so it definitely is convenient. Also, I just like to support my local LCS in any way that I can. So, yeah, Todd, you make some really great points there. One of the main things I wanted to highlight is you talk about supporting your LCS and just trying to do whatever it is that you can in order to support them. I think that's great, man, and that's just a great thing to consider, right? For anybody who, again, if you're lucky enough to have a local LCS near you, to just keep in mind, like, you're helping a local business out. At the end of the day, a lot of these shops are owned by local, small businesses owned by, families or single owned individuals. Like it's not necessarily all these corporations and stuff for a majority. So it is nice to know you're trying to help out somebody who's trying to live that American dream, right? So I think that's a great way to point that out. And then, like you said, very dangerous. That you mentioned, how close it is to your shop there. Won't being able to walk back, down the street or whatever, a few minutes away. That could be a great thing. Could also be very dangerous for the wallet, right? Make sure you have a little self-control there. But yeah, appreciate the comment, Todd, as always. Let's see. Next one up here is my man Copy 801. Copy says, I get my new comics from my LCS. Shout out to the Fourth World Comics. They carry a bunch of indies and always get ratios for all the titles. It's my one-stop shop, and they treat me right, so I'm super loyal to them. They also ship books out if anyone needs a good LCS. Copy. First of all, thank you for the comment there, and shout out to your LCS, Fourth World Comics. I definitely have heard of them before. I feel like that's isn't that Snyder's local comic shop too? I feel like I've seen pictures with you and him. But either way, I love that. Like you mentioned, it's a one-stop shop for you. I feel very similar for Zap Comics to me. Just that go-to place. But I am curious, do you have a backup shop copy? If there's something that for whatever reason your shop didn't have, or they sold out of, or whatever the case may be, what do you resort to after the fact if that happens? But yeah, either way, it's also nice to know that they ship books to you. My LCS does that for me as well. They were doing that for me during the pandemic, big time. It was a huge help there. So yeah, great comment here, and appreciate the feedback. Let's see, go to the next one here, my man, Bottom Tier Collector. He says, back issues are bought nearly exclusively at brick and mortar stores, but I do price compare and shop online when the value is best online. For new comic books, sadly, I don't support my local stores anymore. One store near me doesn't seem to always get their books on time, and I wouldn't get my books in my box. And a different store, I had a pull list, but they do not guarantee. They don't guarantee you the cover of your choice. That's weird. So for the new books, I use Discount Comic Book Services. Bottom Tier, thank you for the comment. Discount Comic Book Services, that's DCBS, right? That's a website I used to use as well, just to order new books, and obviously you get a discount for that as well too. So that's a great way to go about it. A good resort when, a last resort when you can't go to, when you have certain situations like the ones you mentioned, at your shops that are near you. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, like, they don't guarantee you a certain cover. Like, that would bother me. I need to have the cover that I want, if I'm expecting the 1 in 25 or even just the cover A, and they're like, sorry, all we got are B's, like, that would bum me out. I would prefer to have, know that's something guaranteed for myself. And that's what Zap does. But yeah, I guess not every shop's able to do that for whatever the case may be. But I kind of don't blame you for not wanting to shop there. But yeah, otherwise I appreciate the insight kind of on some of the older issues too. So, what you do for that as well. Hey, when you can't go anywhere else, go to an online store. There are definitely some really good online discount stores that you can shop at as well. So, Bottom Tier, thank you so much for the comment. Let's see, going into the next one here, we got Todd Michelson leaving a comment saying, I come through Jersey often, Central Jersey. Definitely curious, what are some of the favorite local shops in Jersey? I'm discovering some gems in northern Jersey right now. Yeah, so Todd, thank you so much for the comment, and cool that you're coming, through the North Jersey area. I will say this is there's a lot of really good shops around here overall. Definitely a good place to kind of come through, go hunting whenever you get a chance. I had mentioned earlier Zap Comics over in Wayne, New Jersey. They are my number one. I highly recommend stopping by their shop if you get a chance. They have two shops. One's in Manalapan. I've never been to that one. I think it's a little smaller, but the Wayne store, they got everything there, and yeah, they're just great people. So I definitely would try that one out. I'll also say A&S Comics over in Teaneck. They're really good. My man Jason, he uses them quite often, and they're pretty close to me as well, and they got great customer service there. And then also you could try what is it, Underground, Gotham City Underground over in Ramsey, New Jersey. They have a good setup over there, and they're also good people. And also East Side Mags, if you get a chance to check them out as well. So Todd, thank you so much for the comment. All right, I got a couple left here that I'm going to run through. Let's see, we got my man 62 Lefty Blues. He says, I get previews and order through my LCS for new comics. Older stuff I track down, best price where I can find it. Yeah, 62. I think that's a spot on. And also, as you mentioned, I'm glad you mentioned previews because I didn't really talk about previews. So if you're new to comics or you're just getting into comics and you don't know what previews is like this giant book that they send out, to all these shops that you can, that shops will give to you to look through and place orders. And they have all the different order codes and things like that. It's FOC, which I mentioned before. FOC is final order cutoff. So, kind of ties into that. So previews is this thick book that you'll see, in shops that you can pick up. So, but yeah, 62. It's a great, just a great way to go about it. Place your orders early. Make sure you get what the books that you definitely know you want. And it's nice that you have your LCS to go to, and otherwise you'll track down stuff elsewhere. So 62. Thank you for the comment. And then we have one left, and it's my man Michael, aka Sove Collector. He says, terrible picks, Justin. Just kidding. He says, I buy my new comics from my LCS. I order through previews, which I urge more people to take advantage of. This is perfect. It's just what I was talking about with what 62 mentioned. He says, I also get my books on New Comic Book Monday. Yup, 2 days early. And sadly, I'm a month behind on my reading, so while I play it off like I'm cool, you all enjoy the books long before I do, even though I should be 2 days ahead. That's kind of funny, Michael. So yeah, thank you for the comment. Very, very tricky stuff that you're able to get your books 2 days early. That's pretty cool. But yeah, like you said, if you're not always you're behind right now, so yeah, we're kind of ahead of you in a way. It's funny. And yeah, just like I was saying before, the preview stuff, he uses previews as well. It's a great way to go about it. I know they have a whole website. I should have mentioned that before too. Previews is a whole website that you can use as well. So yeah, good stuff there. Yeah, so that's going to wrap it up. And again, Michael, thank you so much for the comment. Everybody that left a comment, thank you as well. If you're just watching this and you have some input, you want to leave a comment in the comment section below. Would love to hear your thoughts on where you get your new comic books from. Keep an eye out for this Thursday. I'll have a new question, kind of a question of the week. So if you are interested in kind of participating and answering the questions and have your comment, up on screen here, keep an eye out every Thursdays when I put those videos out, and there'll be a new question, and you can leave your answer there. So, otherwise, until next time, make sure you smash the like button on the way out. And until next time, I will talk to you later.